Dun 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 dun, dramatic music in the background.
Here we go. All right. Welcome, everyone, to Inside Story. This is the biannual celebration of new books by local authors and illustrators, brought to you for 27 years by the Western Washington chapter of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. I am Kristen Varner, writer and illustrator of graphic novels and coordinator of Inside Story. My co-host today is Dana Sullivan, a writer and illustrator of picture books and graphic novels. And our tech fairy is Karen Lewis, author and illustrator of beautiful books and world traveler. She'll be running things behind the scenes. Karen will also be our timer, giving everybody warnings when their allotted 2 minutes are coming to an end. Presenters, please pay attention to her camera when you are presenting so you can know when you need to wrap up. Dana will be sharing today's program in the chat, so please check that out. It will be complete with links to all the presenters' websites. This will also be included in next week's email. These links will let you know how to purchase these amazing author and illustrators' books. If you're a librarian or teacher, how to hire them for your visits to your school or library. There will also be 3 book giveaways at the end of the presentation. You will be chosen at random, but you must be present to win. So please make sure to stay till the bitter end today.
Since its founding in 1998, Inside Story has been a beloved platform where authors and illustrators could celebrate their new titles with local booksellers, librarians, teachers, and other friends of children's literature. It's been going strong ever since, and I'm grateful for you all being here. In fact, over 75 people have registered to watch this event, and hundreds more watch later to the recorded version, which you will all get a link to later. However, since we can't see each other, this being a webinar and it's just weird, let's take a poll to find out who is tuning in today. Karen, please launch the intro poll.
Yay! Who are you? A teacher, librarian, author, illustrator, blogger? Just love Kidlit? Whatever your field or background, we're happy to have you here today at Inside Story. I'm going to end the poll. Here we are. Authors, illustrators, librarians, and teachers. Thank you for being here. And without any further ado, let's get to our Kidlit presenters.
All right. First up today, we have Sonja Anderson. Sonja is a Swedish-American elementary school librarian with a master's in education from Harvard University. She and her Norwegian-American husband, Jeff, live in Seattle, Washington, where their 2 daughters grew up participating in their church's annual Lucia pageant. Although their youngest daughter wondered if she would ever outgrow the papar kakur, or gingerbread, costume. A Christmas Wish for Little Dala Horse, a St. Lucia celebration, is her first picture book. Congratulations, Sonja, and take it away.
I am Sonja Anderson, and I wrote A Christmas Wish for Little Dala Horse, a St. Lucia celebration, a book that probably should not exist. It's a quiet, heartfelt holiday story with an inanimate object for a main character, something my agent said couldn't sell. The publisher had also, unbeknownst to us at the time, had put a moratorium on holiday stories and anything featuring an inanimate object main character. The acquisitions editor recently told me that she had even typed a rejection email, but for some reason she couldn't hit send. So how did it get through the publishing gauntlet? Was it sprinkled with Christmas magic like the glitter that's on the cover? Or was it prayer? My dad, for one, was praying like mad for this book. It features a wood carver, and he was a dentist who turned to wood carving in his retirement. A Dala horse was the first thing he carved. When my agent asked me to turn the wood carver into a widow wood carver who carves and paints in memory of her husband, I was reluctant at first, but I've learned to listen to her excellent instincts. And as it turned out, my dad went into hospice care, and his last clear words to me were about the contract for this book being signed. "That's so wonderful," he said, and he passed away the next day. So now I feel like my widow woodcarver who honors my dad with each reading of the story. It honors the church where our daughters participated in a Lucia pageant every year and my mom's Swedish ancestors. Her uncle even loved Christmas so much that he founded the first year-round Christmas store in America. The book feels to me like a gift wrapped in Christmas magic, and I hope you will enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sonia. That was very sweet, very touching. And so, Merry Christmas to you. Next up, we have Dr. Audrey Barbakoff, who is a librarian, educator, and entrepreneur. She's the author of 2 picture books, The Schlemiel Kids Save the Moon and Mazel, as well as several professional development books for librarians. She holds a doctorate in education and a master's degree in library and information science. She is passionate about passing down the vibrancy of Jewish humor, language, and stories to the next generation. Audrey lives on an island with her husband, children, and chickens. Take it away, Dr. Audrey Barbakoff.
Thank you so much. So I am going to share a little bit about my new board book that just came out about 2 weeks ago. So brand spanking new, Mazel Toes, and just a love letter from parent to child through the generations. And the thing that I really want to share about it that I love so much, I wrote it really while I was bleary-eyed at 3 a.m. holding my own newborn baby, just wanting to cocoon him in like a shield of love, right? That would just keep him safe from all of the wild things going on in this world. But then when the illustrator got the book, the first thing that she did was to say, well, this isn't just one family. This is generation after generation after generation of a family. And so every page is the next generation of the family. And there are all these little Easter eggs in here that I hope you will look for. Things like a rattle that is passed down, from one family, like one generation to the next, or a photo on the wall of a previous generation. So one of those things that your kiddo is not going to notice right on that first read, but that I hope make it a little extra special for you. Also, every page, because I'm a librarian, I really think about what's the read aloud experience that the caregiver and the kid are having together. So every page has an activity, a sensory interaction that you can do with your child. So, hug, kiss, squish, boop, tickle, to really encourage that bonding, that brain development, those early literacy skills. And finally, there is Yiddish on most pages, and I am going to tell you my favorite Yiddish word in the book, and that is pulkis. So you might not have heard that one, but a pulki is a chubby baby thigh. And it literally translates to chicken leg because that little thigh is so cute, you just want to take a bite out of it. You can just eat it up. So that's my fun fact. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. I love the chubby baby thigh. That's awesome. Next up is Bonny. Bonny Becker is the author of 18 books for children, including the award-winning, best-selling Mouse and Bear series, beginning with A Visitor for Bear, 5 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list, winner of the E.B. White Read Aloud Award, and Amazon Picture Book of the Year. Her latest is A Fall Day for Bear, which has earned a starred review from Booklist and was named one of Amazon's best books for September. Take it away, Bonny.
Hi. So what's the inside scoop on A Fall Day for Bear? I think the most fun story about it is really how this story came about. And it seems like it'd be obvious because it is the 7th in a series of books that all feature the same character dynamic, which is a grumpy bear and a cheery mouse who is always trying to cheer him up. But this story had a particular twist to it, and it came out of a school visit that I was doing a number of years ago, and there was one little boy there who clearly wasn't very happy to be there. So I was kind of surprised when he raised his hand at the question and answer, and I thought, oh gosh, maybe he was more engaged than I thought. But his question was a frown and a scowl, and why is Mouse always so cheerful? he's always so happy. Well, this guy clearly was not a morning person. And I had to laugh because I could totally relate. I mean, what is more annoying than the always cheerful person, especially one who wants you to be cheerful along with them. But also as an author, I loved it because, of course, he had given me the perfect solution to another approach of the story, because after 5 or 6 of them, you start to run out of ideas. But the story didn't feel complete to me. And so here it was, this perfect opportunity to flip the character interaction and have a sad and grouchy mouse and a bear being the one trying to cheer him up, which Bear does in his own unique way in A Fall Day for Bear. It took some time to figure out how he was going to manage to cheer Mouse up without actually ending up that cheerful himself. But I think I came up with a solution, and I hope you enjoy it in A Fall Day for Bear.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. We're going to take a small pause here.
Our first trivia today is, what is the name of the town in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? And this is the original book. This is not the movie adaptation. What is the name of the town? Chew and swallow. Breadbasket. Tummy Tum. Get your answers in now, folks.
And the correct answer is Chew and Swallow.
Everybody seemed to know that. Well, okay.
Let's try the next one, shall we? Okay, let's see. How about this one? In the YA novel Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, where does the entire story take place? A mine shaft, an elevator, a volcano, or all of the above? Looks like everybody's volcano,
okay.
all of the above. 40%. I'm going to end this poll. The correct answer is an elevator. Had some people who knew that. That's good. All right. And with that, let's turn it back over to Dana.
Yay, me. I'm back. Okay, good. Bonnie, I love your book. I love Bear. I love Mouse. I'm kind of the mouse guy, and I've been told before just to shut my trap until I have my coffee. So I can totally relate to that little boy in your school visit. Next up, we have Martha Brockenbrough, who has written 25 books for young readers. She's the director of the University of San Francisco's MFA in Writing for Young Readers program. She founded National Grammar Day and wrote game questions for Cranium and Trivial Pursuit. She likes cats and dogs equally, although she's got a cat on her lap, and favors the establishment of the patriarchy. Let's hear all about your books, Martha.
Thank you, Dana. I have 2 books. This is one of the books in the Kids in Mrs. Z's class series. Thunder Nelson Does the Impossible. This is kind of a cool series that's headed up by Kate Messner, who I'm sure we all know. Each of the books in the series is written by a different author. We all started out with a world that Kate had created, Peppermint Falls, the classroom design, the design of the school. All of those details were decided for us, and that left me extra time to spend on names. So Thunder Nelson is perhaps the greatest character I've ever named. She has a dog named Kylo Ren, a hamster named Adam Driver, and she finds a possum. This is a spoiler. She finds a baby possum and names it Channing Tatum. Because what else are you going to name a baby possum? And the book is about her decision to bring Channing Tatum to school in her recorder sock, and all the bad things that happen because of it. Because bad decisions make great stories. The second book, this is At the Edge of Lost. And this actually, the back cover features my cat. Very small. There she is. Because when you're a writer, you can write your own pets into the stories. So this is my first book with 2 male protagonists. And it's about Caleb and his dog Ronan, and they get separated during outbreak of avian flu. And I'm sorry to report that someone just came down with avian flu, and I swear it was not manifested by this book. 2 things about the book. Does everyone remember International Dot Day? great holiday inspired by the Peter Reynolds book, The Dot. This book is dedicated to the memory of Terry Shea, who did so much for kids and readers. The second thing, I had been hearing from lots of teachers and librarians that kids are struggling with reading. I heard from a kid herself. She says, I want a book that's easy to read, but not a dumb story. And so what I did is on a sentence by sentence level, I made sure this was every sentence was accessible to a second grader, even though it's emotionally targeted toward older kids. So the complexity and the tension. And the last thing I'll say is the dog doesn't die. The end.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you for not having a dog die in your book. I, for one, like to have dogs dying in my books. Anyway, next up is Brianna. Brianna Caplan Sayres is a children's book author, editor, and publisher. She is the author of the best-selling Where Do Diggers Sleep at Night series, published by Random House. And she is excited to be offering her new Get Started as a Children's Book Author course. Brianna is the proud CGO, which stands for Chief Galactic Officer of Intergalactic Afikomen, an independent publisher of joyfully Jewish children's books based right here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Take it away, Brianna.
Thank you. Thank you, Kristen. Take two. Wow. I never thought I'd get paid to write chicken puns. I love my job. Why Did the Chicken Cross the Road? A hard-boiled mystery all started when I read Tara Lazar's perfectly punny mystery 789. I love Tara's mystery so much I had to reread it right away. But then I thought to myself, my dad told me that joke about 789 so many times. How had I never thought to write a book about it? My mind whirled. Might there be another well-known joke that I could write a book about? The answer immediately popped into my head. I could write a story about the most famous joke of all time. Luckily, I didn't stop to think. I just sat down to start writing. And somehow these characters just started pouring out of me. Inspector H. Poulet, Henrika, Hensel, and Henley, the chicken and her sister, the egg. You should know that I am a huge fan of mysteries, but I have never had one published. Well, actually, my book, Tiarasaurus Rex, was supposed to be Mystery at the Miss Dinosaur pageant, but we shortened the title and didn't end up emphasizing the mysteries element in that one. Huge thanks to my fantabulous editor, Sally Morgridge at Holiday House, who asked me to make my story longer and a bit more mysterious so it could work for the older picture book audience as well as the younger. This is where I ended up adding all the cow puns, horse puns, and pig puns. Yes, this was fun. As Inspector H. Poulet races all around the barnyard chasing clues. And I want you to know that this is a real mystery. Not Agatha Christie or Louise Penny, both of whom I love, but there are truly clues, and I carefully planted them. And Mark Fearing, the book's incredibly amazing illustrator, did too. You have to look through his illustrations and you'll see clues to the ending. And by the way, this is my first published piece of writing in prose since my very first short story was accepted by Wee Ones more than 20 years ago. That was a short story about a girl who was bad at gymnastics. Wherever could I have gotten the idea for that one? I hope you and your little ones enjoy the mystery. Can you crack the case? Wishing you all a very punny day.
I cannot wait to I'm so excited to get cracking reading that book. Thank you, Brianna. Next up, we have Clelia Castro-Malaspina, who is an author and the owner of Mossy Pines Creative, a children's book editing and consulting business. She also spent nearly a decade as literary agent, representing many best-selling, award-winning, and critically acclaimed books for children and young adults. She lives on Mercer Island with her husband and two young daughters. Take it away, Clelia.
Hello. I was 16 in the summer of 1999 when I felt my own power as a girl for the first time. I was sitting in Giant Stadium at the opening match of the FIFA Women's World Cup, breathlessly awaiting my heroes, Mia Hamm, Brandi Chastain, Michelle Akers, and the rest of the U.S. women's national soccer team. I'd never been to a women's sports event before. I'd never witnessed a stadium filled to the brim with this many girls. I'd never seen girlhood and femininity celebrated in this way. As a young sports fan who'd only ever had male heroes, here was this group of women in ponytails and sports bras who were charming, funny, attractive, and they were also strong, powerful, and absolutely lethal at soccer. I was shook. That World Cup turned me into a lifelong fan of women's soccer and of this team. Fast forward 14 years to 2.5 years ago, I was watching the Women's World Cup again and finding myself wanting to read a book about the sport's history. Surely there'd be a book about a sport so popular. Well, there wasn't. Not in the adult market, not in the kids market, and so it hit me like a strike of lightning. I will write this book! And I did. It was published in May by the Holler imprint of Quarto Kids. It's called Girls with Goals, How Women's Soccer Took Over the World. Even for big fans like me, the history of women's soccer contains many surprises. Like that Chile's first female footballers were part of the traveling circus. That the first women's football club was founded in Victorian England. Yes, that same era of corsets and voluminous skirts and proper young ladies. And that these women were literally chased off the field by men. I was shocked to learn that women's soccer had its own A League of Their Own moment in England during World War I, where women formed teams and played before big crowds while the men were away. And that success led to women's soccer being misogynistically banned for 50 years in England and other countries. Brazil went as far as making it against the law. All of this and more in my YA nonfiction book, Girls with Goals, a celebration of this beautiful sport and these amazing women who have victoriously played the sport they so loved for generations against all odds. If you or someone you know is a fan of women's soccer, this book was written for you.
Thank you so much. I am really excited about that book. As somebody who played soccer when they were 8, 9, and 10, we have another couple of great trivia questions, hopefully not as alarming as they were last time. Let's see what we've got. Who wrote and illustrated the only graphic novel that has won the Newbery Award? Is it Jerry Craft, Jean-Ling Yang, or Alison Bechdel? I think. All right, ending the poll, and the answer is Jerry Craft, the new kid. We've got one more question, and then we'll keep going on. In 1914, Peter Pan creator J.M. Barrie collaborated with W.S. Gilbert and Arthur Sullivan on the comic opera Wendy the Pirate Queen, on a comic serial in the London Times, The Lost Locket of Lovelorn Lothario, or on Nothing, having never met them, although they moved in the same social circles. And our answer is Nothing, having never met them. Although I think probably in these age of social medias, they would have found each other. All right, next up, we've got, I believe, Kristen.
Yes.
I believe
I am introducing Elayne Crain. Elayne Crain is the author of There's Something Odd About the Babysitter, illustrated by John Letta, and is a summer 2025 Kids Indie Next Pick. When she isn't writing, Elayne enjoys LOLing at memes, drinking sugary coffee, and scouting thrift stores. There's Something Odd About the Babysitter is her first book. Congratulations, Elayne.
Hello, I'm sorry. I'm trying to find my yellow cards. I don't know where they went, but I guess I'm just going to have to wing it. I apologize, you guys. Hello, I'm delighted to be here. My name's Elayne Crain. I'm in my basement studio in Seattle's Wedgwood neighborhood. I'm the wildly enthusiastic debut author of There's Something Odd About the Babysitter, hilariously and sweetly illustrated by the very talented Mr. John Letta. There's Something Odd About the Babysitter tackles the age-old question, what is up with a new babysitter? It may seem pretty obvious to some, but is it really? Perfect for anyone who's ever felt like a trio of conflicted raccoons, just trying their best to present as professional and similarly perfect for anyone who's ever had to deal with someone like that. It's a cozy mystery for the picture book crowd. And like all great mysteries, there is a twist. But I don't want to spoil some of my best work. So instead, I'm going to spoil some of John's. Sorry, John. Luckily, he tucked many, many hilarious Easter eggs into the book, so I can ruin just this one. No doubt you already know that the outer cover of this book, the dust cover, is sometimes called the jacket. But if you remove this particular jacket, now prepare yourselves. If you have a fainting couch, ready it. You ready? The babysitter's jacket is removed too. How adorable is that? This book is available right now from Macmillan Publishing, and while I'm admittedly biased, I think it would make a great holiday gift or a library collection edition. John and I were so honored to have it selected as a Kids Indie Next Summer 2025 pick by the American Booksellers Association. If you'd like a free 27-page activity guide for the book, you can get that by signing up for my newsletter, which you can do at ElayneCrain.com, ElayneCrain.com. Thank you so much, odd friends, and I hope you're having a great week.
Oh my God, Elayne, I didn't see that coming. Thank you for revealing that Easter egg. That was very sweet. Love it. Next up, we have Jennifer K. Mann, who is an author and illustrator from Bainbridge Island, Washington. Jennifer was once an architect, but now she spends her time dreaming up stories and making the art that brings the stories to life. She loves hiking, swimming, camping, art making, and cooking. Jennifer grew up with horses, and her favorite childhood memories are of the bazillion hours she spent grooming, washing, riding, and showing horses, and even mucking out their stalls. Mucking, that's a great word. Let's hear that word and more from Jennifer K. Mann.
Thanks, Dana. I don't actually have the word mucking worked into my presentation, but I just said it, so there you go. So I am talking about the writing lesson. Kids often ask me where I get my ideas from, and I'd say every single one of my books comes largely from my own life, my kids' lives. For me, the writing lesson came directly from my childhood. When I was 7 years old, I had my first writing lesson. Let me bring this up here. On a pony named Snowball, and Snowball looks very much like Snowball in the writing lesson because the writing lesson is definitely about that pony. My next horse was a horse named Copper. Copper was a beautiful Palomino. I actually had Copper for a very long time. He lived to a ripe old age, and Copper appears in the writing lesson in numerous places, but my favorite is this one where we see him in the barn with the girls. He's next to his buddy Happy Joe, who is another horse that was in my childhood. My riding buddy was also my best friend. Her name was Polly. See if I can get this close enough so you can actually see. Polly and I had all kinds of horse fun. We did a lot of backyard horse stuff, including 4-H and trail riding. And if you look at the characters, the main character in the riding lesson is named Francis. This is, ooh, that's my ant alarm. That'll go off in 1 second. Do you hear that? No? Okay, good. May is her friend, and May looks exactly like my friend Polly, and that wasn't intentional. It happened, I didn't know it until the book was written. When I was in high school, I rode a horse competitively. His name was Excalibur. He was this big, beautiful thoroughbred, and Excalibur appears in the riding lesson as Francis's dream horse. This is the horse she's imagining she's going to ride in her first riding lesson, but in fact, she rides Snowball. And it doesn't turn out as beautifully as she thought it would on Excalibur. So as an adult, I don't really ride as much as I would like to, but my friend Polly still rides. She has a farm in Vermont. She has loads of horses, and anytime I go to visit her, I get to ride. So there we are, riding together even in our 60s, which is kind of an astonishing thing considering we started when we were 7. And that's it.
Okay, I just want to say I really want a book about the ant alarm. I don't know what that is, but I totally want an ant alarm book.
It's my smoke alarm. The ants like to set it off, even in Zoom meetings.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was I love Snowball and all your horses in your books, being a fellow horse lady myself. Thank you. Next up is Andy Powers. Andy is the author of picture books, including I Am Quiet, a story for the introvert in all of us, which earned a starred review from Booklist, was a Kids Indie Next Pick, was the winner of the Goodreads 2022 Choice Awards for Best Children's Book, and has been translated into 10 languages. Her first nonfiction picture book, Wild Moon, earned a starred review from School Library Journal. She lives in Seattle with her husband, daughters, and a dog named Ralph S. Mouse.
That someday. This is my book called Wild Moon, How the Lunar Phases Light Up Our World. And originally, I have always been fascinated by the moon because as a kid, my dad was in the military and we moved every 2 years or so, but the moon was always the same. So the thing that I was the most interested in were the names of the full moons every month. And they can be found in the back of the book. And initially I thought that I would write a book about which moon you were born under and correspond animals to the moon and which animals were born on that month. But if you know anything about animals, most of them are born in the spring. So that did not work. So I put it to the side, and my husband, who is a high school English teacher, said, "Don't give up. I made you this Christmas gift with all of these cool moon themed pages for you to take notes in." And as I took many, many notes on all different types of things about the moon, I found that the lunar phases and the moonlight actually affects animal behavior. So one of my favorite things, and one that kids really like in school visits, is that in the late fall, under a full moon, the Great Barrier Reef releases its gametes, which is the eggs and sperm of the coral. And you can actually see that from space. So we go through all the moon phases and show which animals react to different levels of moonlight.
Thank you so much. I am really actually very excited about the being able to see moon-released gametes from space. There's so much about our world that we just don't pay attention to because we probably are looking at Facebook or something. not speaking personally. I have another 2 quick trivia questions shared by our brilliant co-hosts, Dana and Kristen. First is a Pippi Longstocking. What is the name of Pippi Longstocking's monkey? Aha! Oh-ho! What's Untitled Question doing in there? Well, maybe Untitled Question is a good name for a monkey. I'm just going to end this poll right here because it's got to be Mr. Nilsson! Hooray! All right, and we've got one more. What color is the crayon that quits first in the day that the crayons quit? Dun, 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 dun. Dramatic music in the background. Well, there's a lot of different color voting here. Which crayon quit first? I'm going to quit the poll because I actually am really curious to see the red crayon quit first. Thanks, everybody. And now back over to Dana, who will introduce our next presenter.
Well, I'm really glad to see so many of you know your Day the Crayons Quit trivia. That's wonderful. And just like back to Andy's just for a sec. I think the hidden story here is your husband who made you that amazing book. And I think I'm asking on behalf of us, did you lend him out? Because I want him.
He actually also made a playlist for the book, which you can find at my website.
Okay, this guy's a keeper, just in case you didn't know.
Yes.
I just want to let you know. Okay, good. Okay. Next up, we have Trudy Truitt, the first author to pen fiction for National Geographic. She writes the award-winning Explorer Academy series. A Sasquatch nominee and Washington State Book Award finalist, Explorer Academy now includes a new spin-off series, Vela. Trudy has written more than 100 fiction and nonfiction titles for kids. Born and raised in Seattle, she makes her home in Everett, Washington, with her husband and their 3 spoiled cats. I hope we hear a little bit about your cats, Trudy, but if not, whatever you got to share it.
Thanks, Dana. Yeah, I have one that's asleep here, thank goodness. The other 2 could come in at any moment, so I am their servant. I'm here today to talk about Explore Academy. And what I love about writing the Explore Academy series is researching the achievements of the real National Geographic explorers, because they are what serve as inspiration for what the missions that the fictional explorers do in the book. I've been writing this series for 9 years. And in that time, Jane Goodall has been such a huge inspiration to me. And of course, we lost her last month. But there's a couple of quotes that she said that really stick with me. One of them is, when nature suffers, we suffer, and when nature flourishes, we flourish. So I always feel that it's important for the explorers to help a species in trouble. And in The Unbreakable Bond, they get to rescue Asian elephants. Now, we all know that elephants are pretty intelligent, but what I found out in my research was that they are also extremely emotional and have very strong family ties. They're very matriarchal. They are fiercely protective of their family, and elephants will stand in a circle around an injured elephant or one that's elderly or a juvenile. They will face outward to protect that elephant. And it just reminded me so much of what we do to protect our own families. Asian elephants are also endangered. Their populations have declined by about 50% in the last 60 years. And so the estimates put the number at about 50,000 Asian elephants left in the wild. But there is good news, because there's always good news for the explorers. And that's there are things that we are doing right now that are making a difference, like ethical ecotourism and cracking down on animal trafficking. And in The Unbreakable Bond, that is just what the explorers do. They set out to rescue Asian elephants from an animal trafficking ring. But in this book, the tables are turned and the elephants end up rescuing the explorers. And you'll have to read it to find out how they do that. But I wanted to finish with a quote from Jane Goodall that I actually used in one of the pages in the Tiger's Nest, which is the canvas that you see behind me. Jane said, "Only if we understand will we care. And only if we care, we will help. And only if we help shall all be saved." And I think that's a powerful message that I would love for kids to learn and know as they read this series. And before I toss it back to you, Dana, I want to let you know that this is my 20th year of doing the Inside Story. So I want to thank SCBWI and Kristen and Karen and everybody who's tuned in, because 20 years is a long time to be putting up with me.
It has been a chore. I'm telling you, Trudy. Yeah.
Wow, Trudy, thank you so much for spending so much time with us on Inside Story, and also just bringing such important work to students and kids everywhere. We love your books. Thank you so much.
It's a real passion project for me. So thanks, Kristen.
It's clear. It's clear that you love it too. Next up is Nina Weinstein. Nina Weinstein has a Master of Arts in Applied Linguistics from UCLA and was a teaching fellow at Harvard University. She's published 21 English language textbooks. The first edition of No More Secrets was nominated as a best book and recommended book for young adult readers by the ALA, voted best book for teenagers by the New York Public Libraries, and sold in Denmark and Germany. Take it away, Nina.
This is my book, No More Secrets, and it's a YA novel, and it's based on something that actually happened to me. When I was 8 years old, I was home in my own room, in my own bedroom, and a man came in and he raped me. Didn't expect to be emotional about this. Anyway, I decided it took many years to talk about it. As you can see, it's still, kind of a difficult thing. But when I was in my 30s, I decided that I was going to address it. And so I tried to write this book. It's very difficult, I think, to write about something that's so incendiary. But I tried to write about it as a 30-year-old looking back on when I was 16 and trying to grow into a normal 16-year-old, dating, having friends, and so forth with all these secrets. And nobody would talk about this in those days. So it was, a lot of energy to hide that. So I started out writing the book, and I wrote it in third person as a 33-year-old person looking back on when she was 16, but it didn't work. And I was in a writer's group, and so I decided that I would try it in first person and let the 16-year-old tell her own story, and it started working. And so it was published, and as you heard in the introduction, it was nominated for some different things, and it was sold internationally. But at that time, this was the 1990s, at that time, the Me Too movement was not around, and so it was shocking to people. And I think that hurt sales of the book, and I think it hurt adoptions of the book. And so I decided after the Me Too movement that it would get another chance if I could get another publisher to do it. As you heard in the introduction, I've published a lot of English as a second language textbooks. So I went to our national convention. I had an English as a second language textbook that had actually been a bestseller that had gone out of print. And so I presented that to two different publishers. I got an offer from one publisher for the book. The second publisher that I didn't take also published YA fiction. And so I had presented my novel to her. And when I wrote the letter telling her that I was going to go with the other publisher, I said that the novel was still available and she had liked it and would she like to move forward? So she did. And that is No More Secrets. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, Nina. It's very brave, and I'm so glad you found that publisher. I'm so glad that you took the chance and were brave enough to get it back in publication. So good for you. Thank you. Rachel Michelle Wilson is a children's book author illustrator with a sweet tooth and a dash of sass. Her picture books include How to Pee Your Pants the Right Way, which was a Kirkus Best Book of the Year, and To Catch a Ghost, which received a starred review from School Library Journal. When Rachel is not making books, you can find her hosting living room dance parties, paddleboarding with her dog, or catching ghosts with kids during school visits. Let's hear it from Rachel Michelle Wilson.
Thank you so much. And first, I just want to say I'm so grateful to Nina for her vulnerability, because as authors and illustrators, we put a lot of ourselves into our work, and it takes a lot of courage to dive into something that personal and also to share it with us. So I just want to say thank you to Nina for your courage. So my book, To Catch a Ghost, is the title came from actually Alfred Hitchcock's movie To Catch a Thief. It's a little nod to that movie because someone's reputation is on the line. And when I came up for this book, I tapped into that feeling as a child of the high stakes of show and tell. I remember feeling like my whole social status was on the line, depending on what I brought. And so I wanted to kind of capture that in the title, as Sam, she's a new kid at school, finds out about show and tell and has nothing to bring, and she's like, I'm gonna catch a ghost. So high stakes right away. The art style, this is made from acrylic paint, and chalk pastel is all the line work and kind of the smudginess. What inspired the artwork is I did an art challenge for a whole month where I followed around a ghost character using ink in an experimental way. And I was inspired by the art of Coles Phillips. And so I love Coles Phillips because he uses negative space, which is the space kind of around objects, really playfully. So you'll see in this that the line work, like there's no line here, but your brain fills in where the line is because there's different clues that Coles Phillips put to show that. And I thought, what a perfect way to illustrate a ghost. So throughout the book, you'll see how I've played with negative space, like here, the ghost is hiding in the clothes, or there's a hot air balloon ghost where I didn't draw an outline, it's just the line work behind. And the last thing is on the end papers, All of these ghosts at the end represent someone who helped me make the book. One of them is actually illustrated by someone here, Martha Brockenbrough, who helped make the book. She has a ghost here and a cat, obviously, as the ghost pet. But one of the kids who drew one of these ghosts, there's also kid ghosts here, inspired my school visits, which when they sent me their ghost, they also sent me a whole story around this ghost as well. And so I was like, ooh, when I go to schools, I could build ghost characters and make up stories. So all of that, there's a lot of love in this and a lot of people who helped make this. So thank you for letting me talk about To Catch a Ghost.
Thank you, Rachel. Oh my gosh. I love that you brought friends into your book at the end and some of the kids' stories too. And I think we all remember the high stakes of show and tell. Man, that was some serious pressure. Thank you, presenters today. And I want to end our presentations with a special tribute to Dalton Webb and his book. There we go. Woolly Mammoth, The Sled Race. Dalton is the illustrator of Woolly Mammoth. And it's written by Corey R. Tabor, published by Green Willow Books, just released in September. The Sled Race is Dalton's first published book and the first in a series of Woolly Mammoth books, with more to come. Sadly, Dalton passed just over a week ago. He leaves behind his wife, Darcy, daughter, Genevieve, and a kidlit community here in Washington that will miss him dearly. Dalton was an active member of SCBWI, serving as Western Washington's illustrator coordinator, always championing artists, building community, and especially instrumental in upstarting the Tacoma Network, where he most recently lived with his family. A fellow storyteller, illustrator, critique partner, and friend to many of us here in the Pacific Northwest, his humor, love for children's books, obscure comics, and styly Vespa scooters will live on in our hearts. Rest easy, Dalton. We'll miss you, buddy.
Thank you very much, Kristen. That's very sweet. And just to let you know, too, that the program has that book in it. So I'm putting that program in the chat right now. Okay, now it's time for the big giveaway, big raffle. We're going to give away 3 books, and I'm using a very scientific and very secret method. I'm going to pick 3 people in our who are still with us to the bitter end, although it's not that bitter. It's pretty cool. And you're going to email me, danajsullivan@comcast.net. I would type that, but I can't type and drum and sing and drum and play and at the same time. So danajsullivan@comcast.net. If I call your name in the chat box, you say, I'm here, and then we'll move on. And then you're going to write to me and tell me which one you want. If you don't say, I'm here, after 3 tries, to heck with you, we're moving on. All right. Now, back to you, Kristen.
All right. Thanks, Dana. You guys are going to get some great books, by the way, you lucky winners. I want to thank everyone again, all of our presenters. So lovely to have you. And many of us know how hard it is to get books published, and it's such a joy to celebrate them and their creators. And we're going to do it again in person at the next Inside Story, which will be coming up in May at some point. So keep an eye out for that. I want to also give an enormous thank you to Holly Huckabee, the regional advisor of our Western Washington chapter of the SCBWI. Holly has done so much for our chapter, offering more and more classes, programs, and opportunities for our Pacific Northwest corner of the kidlit world. And another thank you goes out to Dana Sullivan, Karen Lewis, and myself for volunteering their time to make this event run so smoothly today.
So smoothly.
Back to you, Dana.
Smoothly. That's all Karen. Hey, I also want to give a big shout out because we neglected to George Shannon and Laura McGee Koznowski, who are the mother and father, maybe by now grandmother and grandfather, because evidently Trudy's the mother of the Inside Story. They started it up all those years ago, and we cannot thank them enough.
Is that where baby books come from?
That's where baby books come from. The board books, they come from, yeah, exactly.
Well, get out of here, all you people. Go do something creative.
Wait, I'm still talking. SCBWI has been putting on a lot of excellent programming, which you can see at scbwi.org. If you've got a book inside you struggling to get out, please go to that, scbwi.org. The great organization with the stupidest name, scbwi.org, and explore the amazing resources it provides. Don't forget to download today's PDF program and check out everybody's websites and books. And then buy some books and hire our presenters to come to your school to read books to kids. Whatever you can do to keep kid lit thriving, people. Okay, Kristen, back to you.
Just lastly, on behalf of Western Washington's chapter of SCBWI, myself, Dana Sullivan, and Karen Lewis, thank you everybody for attending today, and have a rest of your lovely weekend and happy holidays. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Books rock. Rock, rock.
Dun, 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 dun. Dramatic music in the background.